Welcome back to this week's episode of Hormones, Metabolism, and You. I'm your host, Dr. Cassie Smith. I'm a functional medicine endocrinologist based out of Oklahoma City. I hope y'all are as excited about this episode as I am. So last week, we just jumped right in. I just had verbal diarrhea for 45 minutes about why your gut is so important with your hormones, with your thyroid, and just trying to teach y'all why so many people are sick and we're not connecting the dots in this country, right? We have millions of people that are sick. We're sicker than we've ever been. And providers just don't know what to do because they don't understand gut health and they don't understand how your gut is so impactful to your hormones, your thyroid, and so many things. So I kind of got on a tangent last week and I just explained to you why a lot of you have all the symptoms that you have and how your gut actually affects those things. So what I want to do this week is I want to give you guys the information about the 6 gut health types, right? So I hope that you were super excited about it this week and kind of thinking about it. So I have trademarked 6 gut health types, and these are the 6 types of things that I see on gut health studies. And so I want to go through these and I want you guys to think as you're listening to this, like, okay, what gut health type am I? If you're somebody that struggles with brain fog and constipation and bloating and weight gain and my people, my Hashimoto's people, you're tired. I want you to really listen to this episode and think, okay, which one of these gut health types am I? Because that's going to be important. I want you to think about what gut health type you are. And then I'm going to teach you at the end that, like, okay, even though you think you know, we have to test. We have to test so we know. And then I'm going to teach you how to fix these things. Okay? So this is so powerful. It's so impactful. Like, I want y'all to be able to take back control of your health and to really feel better. And then at the end, what I'm going to do is I will go back and I'll answer some more questions. So if you missed our episode last week, you need to stop right now and go back to the episode before this. So if you're brand new to this podcast and you're like, what is this lady talking about? Go to the episode the week before, okay? I explained all about how your gut impacts your hormones. And then at the end of the podcast, we talked about, the GI map test that I'm talking about. Is it covered by insurance? How do you pay for it? What does it test? What symptoms will it help with? Does it help if your hair falls out? Does it help with your hormones? Like, we went through all of this and it was great information. And I went through the questions that y'all asked me on social media. You reach out to me, you DM me. So I went through all those things with you. So don't miss that episode. Okay. So go back and listen to that if you missed last week. But now we're going to get into the 6 gut health types. All right. So I'm assuming that you listened to me already. I'm not going to go back into the whole spiel of how your gut truly affects everything and how if you have dysbiosis and inflammation, it wrecks the rest of your body. I'm going to assume that y'all are with me here, okay? So let's just start talking about the 6 gut health types. So gut health type 1, this is what I call the burnout boss, okay? These are my high stress overachievers. So if you're listening to this and you are that high stress overachiever, this was me in my 30s, right? My doctors, my attorneys, my moms, my people that are like, everything has to be perfect, okay? You have chronic stress. A lot of you are burnout. You sleep poorly. You have cortisol dysregulation. So you've been told your cortisol levels are either high or low. You have weight gain, especially around your midsection. You feel like you're wearing a tire. You're bloated a lot. You have acid reflux and sluggish digestion. Okay. If this is you, if you're like, yes, Dr. Cassie, this is me. I'm gut health type 1. This is what I want you to know. Okay. This is extremely bad for your gut, y'all. So the burnout bosses, here's what I see in your gut. Normally, you guys have H. pylori, which is not a fun bacteria. You don't want H. pylori. It affects your stomach acid. So you will not have an acidic stomach like you're supposed to. When you have H. pylori and you do not have an acidic stomach, bad bacteria can come through your stomach. So when you eat things that aren't clean, it comes right through your stomach. Now you get this bad bacteria growing in your small intestine. It's not supposed to be there. We were supposed to kill it in our stomach. This bad bacteria sets up shop in our small intestine. It starts making those bad chemicals we talked about last week, lipopolysaccharides, and now we end up with leaky gut. So we have bacterial overgrowth, bad bacterial overgrowth, we have leaky gut. In addition to that, we have the H. pylori in our stomach. H. pylori eats iron, you guys. So if you have low iron and you can't figure out why your iron is low and you get iron infusions and you take iron and your periods aren't that heavy or you don't have periods, and you're like, why is my damn iron so low? It's probably because you have H. pylori. Now, before I get all the hate about like, well, I've had a breath test and I had a colon or an EGD and I don't have H. pylori, I'm going to tell you that I've seen hundreds of people who have had breath tests and EGDs who have been told they've had no H. pylori. And we do a stool test, a DNA PCR stool test, and they have H. pylori. Breath tests are not 100% accurate. And when you biopsy someone's stomach, you're biopsying one tiny piece of their stomach. You have a huge stomach, okay? So you can miss it. So you probably have H. pylori. If you have low iron, if you have acid reflux, if you're on a PPI and you've been on a PPI for years, you people have H. pylori, most likely. And if we don't fix that, we're going to end up with bad bacterial overgrowth. We're going to end up with big problems, okay? You type 1 people also have leaky gut markers because you've got this bacterial overgrowth and you're chronically stressed. And when we're chronically stressed, our vagus nerve tells our brain we're dying. We release cortisol. Cortisol causes dysregulation and causes our gut to leak. And so we end up with leaky gut. We have high zonulin levels. A lot of us have food sensitivity issues because of that chronic inflammation that's always going on. You have low energy as well. You have dysbiosis. And a lot of times you have poor digestion because when we don't have good stomach acid, our elastase and our ability to digest proteins and our ability to digest carbs goes down, and our ability to digest fat. So a lot of people have high steatocrit, low elastase, they'll have high calprotectin levels, they will have high zonulin levels, they'll have, all these food sensitivities, maybe high EAP levels and bacterial overgrowth. So a lot of SIBO bacterial overgrowth. We've got Klebsiella, we've got Proteus, Pseudomonas, different things like that, even staph and strep. See a lot of staph and strep overgrowth in you people because your gut, your stomach acid isn't working and you have H. pylori. So in a gut health type 1, if you're like, okay, this is me, adrenal fatigue, your adrenal gland is so shot and it's causing gut issues. You need to know you're a type 1 because then we also probably need to support and look at your adrenal glands, but then we can give you a step-by-step approach. How do we get rid of the H. pylori? How do we fix our stomach acid? How do we fix our gut lining? How do we fix the SIBO? How do we start digesting our food? And all of it's going to depend on exactly what your study shows. But if you're a gut health type 1, this is what could be going on. So if you're super, high overachiever, then you might be gut health type 1. So take note of that. If you're listening to this and you're like, I'm a type 1, take note. Type 2, the nervous navigator. So these are my people that are anxiety prone. So if you are listening to this and you're like, I am so anxious, and I have a sensitive gut. Sometimes I feel like I am constipated. Sometimes I feel like I have diarrhea. I wake up, like I have terrible sleep. I wake up and I'm having problems falling asleep, having problems staying asleep. I have panic attacks. I'm anxious. Sometimes I'm depressed. A lot of times these people they have energy crashes throughout the day, so they'll be fine. And then all of a sudden their energy just crashes. These are the people who have seen psychiatrists, therapists, have been put on SSRIs, been put on Wellbutrin, been put on all these medications. They still have anxiety and depression. It's because you don't have an SSRI deficiency. You have a stomach issue. So if you're somebody who's like, I've been on a ton of medications, I still have anxiety and depression. A lot of these people are super deep fillers. They're very sensitive. They're often very empathetic. They're very thoughtful. But if you are like just nervous all the time, then you're probably a nervous navigator. You're a type 2. What I see in your gut, okay, here's the thing. You have very high opportunistic bacteria, a lot of you guys. So your opportunistic bacteria mess with your serotonin and GABA, okay? So when you get a serotonin and GABA disruption, what happens is then you can't balance your serotonin and your dopamine and your GABA, and so you get anxious and you get nervous and you get depressed, and it doesn't matter how many SSRIs you take because your gut is chronically balancing your serotonin and your GABA, and your gut is going to win every time, right? And so you're going to get anxious. And then because of this high opportunistic bacteria, a lot of times you end up with parasites and yeast, and you get infections because your anxiety that you have, this feeling that you have because your serotonin and dopamine and GABA are not processing right in your stomach, your brain gets anxious. Your brain tells your gut it's anxious because of the gut-brain connection. Now your immune system is revved up. And your immune system is chronically overstimulated, and then it becomes non-functional or low functioning. And so your anxiety leads to a low functioning immune system, and you get a parasite and a yeast overgrowth. Okay. You also get low beneficial bacteria because your immune system isn't working, and that further messes up your neurotransmitters. So if you are a nervous navigator, I see lots of different things in your gut: bacterial overgrowth, usually low secretory IgA because of the anxiety, low bacteria, like good bacteria. Your commensal bacteria are dead. Your bad bacteria overgrowing. You have super low secretory IgA. A lot of times you have parasites. And the truth is that your anxiety isn't in your head. It's coming from your gut. Okay. And so I see people like this all the time. These are like some of my favorite people to treat. I see, I can think of several 22-year-old girls, 20-year-old girls who were in college, who were doing well, one girl dropped out of college, debilitating anxiety, right? Had tried 7 or 8 different SSRIs. Her mom brought her to me. She was just like, I don't know what to do with her. She didn't have an SSRI deficiency. Her gut was a typical nervous navigator. We fixed her gut. Within 3 months, she was fine. She was back in college. So you've got to address the gut in these situations, okay? So if you think you're a 2, Nervous navigator, just know, okay, I'm a 2. Now let's talk about gut health type 3. Okay, so gut health type 3, I call the silent struggler. These people are somewhat difficult to take care of because these people don't necessarily have symptoms, but they are a wreck inside. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't really have a lot of those symptoms she went over last week, I don't have a ton of those symptoms. And let me just remind you guys of the symptoms. Let's run through them again. I should have did this at the beginning, but symptoms. Okay, chronic stress, burnout, poor sleep, cortisol dysregulation, weight fluctuations, unexplained weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, depression, constipation, diarrhea, IBS-like symptoms, food sensitivities, histamine intolerances, where you just get really hot whenever you get out of the shower or really hot after you exercise, headaches, skin issues, eczema, acne, rashes, cravings, poor nutrient absorption by blood work. You've been told you have low B, low D, low iron, low iodine, sluggish or unpredictable digestion, heartburn or acid reflux, gas, bloating, mood swings, joint pain, joint swelling, or chronic pain. These are the symptoms I'm talking about. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't really have a ton of those symptoms, but every now and then I will be bloated, or every now and then I get a headache, or every now and then I'm tired, or I am having issues with my weight, you might be a silent struggler. And so usually the way I get to silent strugglers are their significant other drags them into my office, right? I see a woman, I fixed her hormones, I fixed her gut, she's feeling amazing. Her husband sees she's feeling amazing, and then she may say to her husband, well, you should go see Dr. Cassie and get your guts, your gut done. And the husband's like, I don't have gut symptoms. They get drug in by their wife, but their wife's like, no, you're acting like you're kind of going through menopause as well, or you're just kind of whatever. Or maybe the wife just wants to know, like, hey, I want you to be healthy, right? So a lot of these guys are men, but every now and then I get women too. So I have some women who I take care of who, I've taken care of for a really long time. And like, maybe we just can't get their hormone levels just perfect, or maybe they are tired and I've gone through everything with them and we've looked at their mitochondria and we've looked for mold and something's not right. I'm like, please check your gut. Now I've tried to check their gut prior, but they don't feel like they have gut symptoms. And a lot of times this testing can be expensive, so they avoid it. So if you're that person, you may be a silent struggler. Now, the problem with these people is your labs may look fine, but your gut is screaming for help a lot of the times. Sometimes these are the sickest people. So these people often have low stomach acid and pancreatic enzyme issues. So they'll have very poor digestion and nutrient absorption. They've just gotten used to it. Their body is just used to it, which is sad because they actually are probably more fatigued than they realize. So they will have a high steatocrit or a low elastase. On their labs, they may have some nutrient deficiencies, but they may not. A lot of times they have a lot of silent inflammation and leaky gut markers. So they will have high calprotectin, they will have high zonulin. A lot of times that leads to low energy. So that's how I'll get them to do the test. They're like, well, my energy is a little off, but I don't have any gut symptoms. So it can't be my gut, right? And a lot of times these people have dysbiosis. So they have an increased risk for long-term disease because they have chronic dysbiosis. So a lot of these people have had issues for years. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they've just never really put it together that it's their gut. And that's where this is scary, because if you have dysbiosis and you have inflammation for 15 or 20 years and you never put this together, what happens is when our cells in our stomach turn over, right? Any cell in our body, when it turns over, if it turns over chronically faster than it's supposed to, then we are more likely to have miscommunications, or we're more likely to turn over and have mistakes, right? So when you have chronic inflammation, you have cells turning over faster than they're supposed to. If we make mistakes, our body is supposed to catch it. But if our body is tired because it's overworked and all of our immune system is in our gut and our cells miss it, then we develop cancer. And so there is a huge, huge increase in colon cancer in this country, especially in younger people. And so the question has been, why? Is it our food? Is it our nutrients? Is it our environment? I'm going to tell you that what I've seen is it's our gut. Okay, so you can tell if somebody's at increased risk of colon cancer. They have high fusobacterium. This has been shown. Fusobacterium is something that we look at with the GI map. If you have a very high fusobacterium, you have microscopic blood in your stool, and you have a high calprotectin level, I am highly concerned for you, and I make these people get colonoscopies. I actually fought with a GI doctor about this not too long ago because I had a younger lady who was not old enough to have a colonoscopy. She was in her late 30s, but on her GI map, I was highly concerned because she had all these symptoms. And so or all these signs on her GI map. She didn't really have a lot of symptoms, but she had a high calprotectin, she had blood in her stool, and she had really high fusobacterium. And so this GI doctor said, well, she doesn't need a colonoscopy. She's not 50. And I said, I understand that, but she has some alarming things on her GI map. we kind of went back and forth, I guess you'll say cordially, professionally, but eventually they agreed to do the colonoscopy in this 39-year-old lady, and she actually had a 1 centimeter adenocarcinoma, which thankfully she got removed. She didn't have to have chemo or radiation. But if we would have waited until she was 50, it would have been a 9 centimeter adenocarcinoma, or she probably wouldn't even made it to 50. She would have had a bowel obstruction, and we would have a very different story. So this is also can be like a very preventative test as well. But in my silent strugglers, I see, unfortunately, I've had 3 of these people where, they didn't think anything was going on. They may have a symptom here or there. They do a GI map and it's like, no, you definitely have something going on. So this is really important. And I actually had a family member this happened to. So, I'm very passionate about this. These GI maps not only can help you when you're having symptoms and struggling, but they can be preventative as well. So if you think you may be a silent struggler, like, oh, well, I don't have a ton of symptoms she was talking about, opposed to talking about my gut in particular, but, I am kind of tired, or I do kind of have headaches every now and then, maybe I'm bloated, I have this unexplained, fatigue or weight gain, then you may be a silent struggler. And you can have just as bad of a gut as everyone else. So keep that in mind. So now let's go to gut health type 4, okay? Gut health type 4 are the foodie fallouts. And I want you all to know that as you listen to this, you may think you're a combination, or you may think like I was this and then I'm that. You can change over time. So when I first got into functional medicine and started figuring out what the heck was going on with me, I was a gut health type 6, which we'll get to. I then turned into a gut health type 1 because I didn't really do everything I was supposed to and I was still stressed. And then after 1, I was a 4. So I was pretty healthy for a few years, knew what I was doing, felt really well. And then I turned into a gut health type 4, or the foodie fallout, because I have eaten healthy for almost 10 years now. But I was still struggling. And I was like, my blood is great. I'm an endocrinologist. I know what I'm doing with my hormones. Like, why am I still struggling? Why do I still have bloating after meals? Like, this is one of the main things with type 4s. So if you have bloating after meals and you have unpredictable digestion, like you eat something one day and you're fine. The next day you can eat the same thing and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm constipated, or I'm having gas or diarrhea. If you have skin flare-ups, so you get weird, acne, eczema, anything like that, you have joint pain, weight fluctuations, that's a big one too. Like you're like, oh my gosh, I look so skinny and my stomach's flat, and then the next day it's not. Or histamine intolerance, where your face turns really red when you get out of the shower after you exercise, then you might be a foodie fallout. And so these people a lot of times are hard to take care of or treat too, because they're like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like I eat healthy, I just have these symptoms. If you're a foodie fallout, what happens is most of the time you have significant SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You have healthy bacteria, but they move to the wrong part of your gut, okay? So this healthy bacteria moves to a different place. And when that happens, all these healthy foods that you're eating that you think are so great for you, your green smoothies, your kombucha, your sauerkraut, your fermented foods, every time you eat those, you're having fermentation and bloating in the wrong part of your gut. So although those bacteria need those, they're not in the right place. And so they ferment and they cause you to bloat. And then this also a lot of times leads to yeast overgrowth and candida. And so a lot of these people will have food cravings and they'll get fatigued. So they'll say, I do eat really, really well, but every now and then I get a craving for a cupcake, or I get a craving for chocolate or whatever, right? And that's because you have yeast overgrowth, right? So you have candida overgrowth and you're getting these cravings. And a lot of that is driven also by the SIBO, the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And then they also have poor digestion a lot of times. So they're not breaking down their fat. They're not breaking down their protein. And when we don't break down our fat and protein, that can push food further down into our stomach where our bad bacteria can eat it. And so then that further makes the dysbiosis worse. Our bad bacteria are fermenting food, and they're like in our stomach, they're making all this gas and all these things further down in our stomach, which are making our symptoms worse. So if you're a type 4 foodie fallout, your healthy diet is probably feeding your wrong gut. So if you're sitting here thinking like, I do green smoothies, I do yogurt, I do all these things that all these health people tell me to do, and sometimes when I do it, it makes my gut worse, you're probably a foodie fallout. And so we need to know exactly what's going on, exactly what bacteria are overgrown, what bacteria are causing your SIBO, because there are different types of SIBO, so that we can treat your SIBO. Is it methane producing? Is it not? How bad is your yeast? What strand of yeast do you have? How bad is your protein or your fat malabsorption? And so we have to know all these things as a foodie fallout so we know how to fix your gut. So if you think you're a gut health type 4 now, note that. Type 5, I call the chronic fixer. Okay, these are the people that have tried everything, but they still don't have answers. So these are my people who have probably already been in the functional medicine space. You may have even already done testing. You might be my people who have done Dutch testing and heavy metal testing and mold testing and gut testing. And you're like, I have Lyme and I have mold and I have thyroid issues and I'm still not better. Okay, so these are the people that are constantly trying new supplements. They're constantly trying diets, but they still have symptoms. And they're like, I've seen everyone and I don't know what to do. You are the chronic fixers, okay? A lot of you have extreme fatigue. I'm talking about debilitating fatigue, like worse than my Hashimoto's patients. Some of these people don't get out of bed, okay? They have neurological symptoms, weird tingling and numbness. A lot of times they'll have like issues where they have ringing in their ears, food intolerances, allergic to a million things, rashes. I saw a lady this week, like just strange rashes that come up that we don't know why they're there. They've seen a dermatologist. They've put hormone creams and steroid creams and all sorts of creams, not hormone, but steroid creams all over these rashes, and they haven't gotten better. And a lot of these people will have a history of diagnoses that are like, again, super long. So somebody's told them they have SIBO, somebody's told them they have Lyme, mold, thyroid issues. And then they're like, oh, maybe you have fibromyalgia, all of these things, because nobody knows what to tell you. Because they're like, obviously you have stuff going on. Sometimes they can even see it, like it's visual. Not only do you have symptoms, but your body is literally showing you in your skin, and they don't know what to say to you because they never stepped back and looked at the forest. They just looked at the tree, and they're trying to band-aid every single thing that you're coming to them with. It's your gut. And so in the chronic fixers, what we've got to do is we have got to get a good analysis of your gut, okay? You people, a lot of times, you have autoimmune conditions, and remember that these start in your gut. A lot of people say autoimmune conditions start in your genes, right? Well, you have genes that predispose you, but the actual condition of turning it on starts in your gut. And so we have got to test your gut because we got to know exactly what's going on. A lot of times you also need extensive blood work too. And these people are the people that don't get better a lot of times because they do have mold or they do have heavy metals, and they can't clear these things out of their body because their gut isn't working right. And so if you're somebody who has been through this, like you've been through the mold, you've been through, and like you're never better, it's because your gut didn't get cleaned out most likely. And so in you, a lot of times what we see in your gut study is super low immune system. So your secretory IgA is non-existent. You have all these opportunistic infections. A lot of times you have yeast. Sometimes you have protozoa. A lot of times you have worms. I mean, we see all sorts of stuff. Blastocystis, like all sorts of crazy stuff. And so we've got to treat those opportunistic infections first of all, and we've got to fix your immune system. But we need to know how bad it is. We also see leaky gut and significant inflammation in these people. So their zonulin is high, their calprotectin is high. A lot of times this can be from heavy metals or from mold. And so we need to know exactly what we're working with as far as your gut. And most of you have severe mitochondrial dysfunction as well. And there's ways that I can tell this by certain treatments that we use, certain things we do with your gut. If we look at blood tests, there are ways to look at this as well. And so in my type 5s, my chronic fixers, I tell them like, this is a journey. A lot of times you guys, this is a year-long journey. And, we need to do some medicine aspect with this. We need to do some blood tests, but we can fix you. Like I've fixed some really, really sick people, y'all. It takes some time, but like if we go back and start at the mitochondria and the cell membrane and we make sure your cell membranes are working and then we fix your gut, then everything else can actually start working. And a lot of you are really sick and stay sick because nobody went there. Like they have all these diagnoses they've given you and all these symptoms, and they're treating them all individually. And the problem is everything they're throwing at you, like nothing can work because your gut is so inflamed and nothing's getting into your cells. And it's really sad because people spend years and years, sometimes 10 years, 20 years, and tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. And people miss the very beginning, which is your gut and your liver and your cell membranes. Like that is how we detox, and that is how we move things back and forth. So if you think that you're a chronic fixer, a type 5, then note that. The last gut health type is gut health type 6, okay? And I call gut health type 6 the inflammation igniter, okay? This was me when I first started my gut health journey. So these are my autoimmune people with chronic conditions. So the people who suffer with chronic conditions, autoimmune diseases, okay? So these are my Hashimoto's people, my rheumatoid arthritis people, my lupus people, my Crohn's people, my ulcerative colitis people. These are you, okay? So you guys with all these autoimmune diseases, you have allergies, whether it be seasonal allergies, food allergies, skin allergies, unexplained pain. These are my people that are like, I just hurt. I've tried everything. Maybe you've tried BPC, you've tried steroids, you still hurt and you don't know why. My people with joint swelling, you've seen a rheumatologist, maybe your ANA is high, maybe it's not. They say, I don't know, maybe you have seronegative RA. You're the people that are on Plaquenil and all these crazy drugs because nobody knows what to tell you. So rheumatologists throw drugs at you. My people with, again, skin issues, rashes, acne, fatigue. A lot of y'all are tired, you're depressed, and you have brain fog, okay? So if this is you, and you think you might be gut health type 6, the inflammation igniter, know that your inflammatory markers on your gut studies are off the chart, y'all. So your calprotectin is high. A lot of times your zonulin is high. I mean, you are inflamed people. Your EAP sometimes is high if you've got food allergies, so we can figure that out. But a lot of times your EAP is high just because your zonulin's high because you have leaky gut. And so a lot of you that think you have food allergies, you really don't. Like one of my good friends, last year we fixed her gut. It took a while. She had like a bazillion food allergies. I've told you all about her, like almost impossible to go out to eat with her. She's allergic to everything. We fixed her gut last year. There's a testimonial on our site. I can link it in the show notes. But she cleaned her gut out. And then after she cleaned her gut out, she has 3 food allergies now. So we went to dinner recently and it's like she's only allergic to 3 things, which is amazing. But so a lot of these food allergies you have are just your gut is so inflamed and your immune system is so pissed because everything is just so inflamed. You also have pathogenic and inflammatory overgrowths that contribute to your immune dysfunction. So we've got to find what's overgrowing. My Hashi's people will have Proteus, they'll have Klebsiella, they'll have Citrobacter. My rheumatoid arthritis people may have other overgrowths, but we've got to know what's overgrowing so we fix it. So we want to get rid of the overgrowths. We want to fix your immune system. We want to fix your inflammation. We want to fix your leaky gut, your food sensitivities, because every time your gut's leaking and all these food sensitivities, they are fueling your autoimmune flares. Okay. So your autoimmune disease is not going to get better. If you're listening to this and you're like, I have autoimmune disease, I've had it for years. No matter what I do, my antibodies won't come down. My ANA is positive. My TPO antibody stays high. My antibodies are always high. I am tired. I do hurt no matter what I do. I stopped gluten. I stopped dairy. I took LDN. I'm taking all my medicine. It's probably because your gut is leaking. Your gut is leaking and this is causing inflammation. And so nothing is going to change with your antibodies until you fix your gut. So you need precise testing. You don't need random supplements. You don't need random medications. You don't need your rheumatologist to give you Plaquenil for seronegative RA. You need to look at your gut. Okay? So that's the 6 gut health types. And I have created these, like I said, after looking at thousands of these gut health tests. Okay? So I want you to think back of the 6 gut health types that we've talked about. And what are you? Are you a type 1? Are you the burnout boss, the chronic overachiever? Are you the nervous navigator who's always anxious and have anxiety and depression? Are you the silent struggler who really doesn't have a lot of these symptoms, type 3, but maybe just, 1 or 2? Are you the foodie fallout, type 4, that eats healthy, but you're actually, when you're eating, you're actually harming yourself more than helping yourself because your good bacteria went to the wrong place? Are you the chronic fixer? You've tried everything. You have all these diagnoses. People have thrown things at you. You don't know what to do. Or are you the inflammatory igniter? Which one do you think you are? Now, you know yourself probably better than anyone else. You've got to be your own advocate. But what I'm going to tell you is I think I know myself better than anyone else. And I do this for a living and I'm a doctor. I still messed up my gut health type, right? So I thought I knew what I was, and when I tested, I wasn't. And so the only way you can be 100% sure to confirm your gut health type is to test. You can't guess, you have to test. And a lot of times people come to me and they're frustrated and they're upset because they've spent money and they've spent time and everything has failed. And the reason everything has failed is because nobody has looked at the forest, they've looked at the tree, and you haven't tested. You haven't done a precise test and got a customized, individualized plan for your gut. The guessing game trap, it doesn't work, y'all. It definitely doesn't work with your gut. It doesn't work with healthcare in general. Like I've said this forever, you can't guess. You've got to test, and everyone's different. You've got to be flexible as a provider. Like what they teach us in school about putting everyone in boxes is is just a load of shit, to be honest with you. It doesn't work. Like I did it for 3 years and nobody got better. You have to be able to provide individualized care to each person. So if you've tried probiotics, but you haven't gotten better, it was because your gut lining isn't working. So like if you don't have a functional gut lining, if you have a toxic environment, if you have leaky gut and you take probiotics, guess what? You might as well be throwing seeds on the concrete. Like you are wasting your money. If you don't have a lining for the probiotics to stick to, it doesn't matter. Okay. If you've tried elimination diets, but removing these foods didn't fix the underlying issue, all you have done is created an unhealthy relationship with food, because now you've cut out entire food groups and you've gotten upset and nothing got better. And that's because that wasn't what you needed to do to begin with. If you've tried supplements, like you tried to supplement that somebody on Instagram told you to take because that would make your gut better and it didn't, guess what? If your supplements aren't getting absorbed because the lining of your gut sucks, or you've got bacterial overgrowth or something's going on in your stomach is, the lining is damaged, then it doesn't matter how many supplements you take. So this is why you have to know exactly what's going on. And band-aiding your gut doesn't help either. Okay. So if like you go to the doctor and you're like, oh my gosh, I have terrible, acid reflux. Like this is one of the most common things I see that gets screwed up. I have acid reflux, right? And so the doctor's like, okay, well, I have 5 minutes with you and I don't really care. Here's your antacid. Here's your omeprazole. Here's your Nexium. Okay. First of all, those medications were made to be taken for 14 days, y'all. Look it up. Short-term medications, right? If you've got an ulcer, we give you a PPI. We don't say, here's your Nexium, come back and see me next year. That is crazy. That's actually malpractice, in my opinion. Okay. So what they should say is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you have those symptoms. Let's figure out why. Is it something you're eating? Is it that your stomach acid is, out of whack? Do you have an infection? Like what is going on? We shouldn't just be writing someone an antibiotic or a PPI and kicking them out the door. And a lot of times these antacids that you take, they actually make your problem worse. And so this Band-Aid approach of just, let me give you a PPI, most of the time makes it worse. I write about this in my book. There's a whole chapter about how when you suppress stomach acid production, that makes the acid content in your stomach. So like when we're not making acid in our stomach, the pH of our stomach goes up. All these bad bacteria that we eat on accident just go right through our stomach and take up lining in our small bowel. We end up with dysbiosis. We end up with SIBO. We end up with leaky gut. I mean, you're taking out one of the huge barriers in immune systems in your gut by taking a PPI. So if your stomach hurts and you have acid reflux, let's figure out why. Like, do we have an infection? Is it our diet? Like, we don't just write a medication and say goodbye for a year. You people are the people that are on PPIs. We can fix it. We can get your stomach acid we can make your stomach produce acid again. We can get your acid levels in your stomach back down. It takes 2 or 3 months, but we can. And I saw somebody yesterday who's like, I cannot believe how much better my acid reflux is. Like, it was so horrible. And we got her stomach fixed. We got her dysbiosis fixed. We started giving her acid again. We've got her stomach acid back down to where it needs to be. Her bacterial overgrowth is dead. I mean, you can fix these things. It just takes time. It takes more than 5 minutes, and that's the problem with traditional medicine is they want to spend 5 minutes with you and kick you out the door. Same thing with people who are exhausted, giving them stimulants when they're already depleted. Like, this is not how we fix fatigue. We don't give you a stimulant and kick you out the door. You shouldn't be drinking coffee, like when you have brain fog. That, like, if you're tired and can't get through the day, if your go-to is an energy drink and coffee, you have a problem. You are spiking your cortisol. You are damaging your gut lining. You shouldn't have these energy crashes. If you do, there's something going on with your hormones and or your gut. And the same thing with restrictive diets for weight loss. If you're like somebody who's, well, when I gain weight, I just do this super restrictive diet. Okay, it's not working, most likely, unless you just do it forever. It's actually slowing your metabolism down. It's increasing your stress. It's increasing your cortisol and insulin, which is going to make your gut worse. And when you get off your 500-calorie diet, you're going to gain all your weight back plus more, because that is not how you lose weight correctly. You make sure your acromancy is balanced. You make sure your gut is balanced. You make sure your hormones are balanced. You do it correctly. Okay. So the problem with most people in this country and why so many people are still sick is that they've been treating they and their providers have been treating the smoke instead of putting out the fire. That's what we do in healthcare with healthcare in this country. We treat the smoke. We don't put out the fire because we have 5 minutes with people, and that's what we're taught in medical school. And so I would really encourage you to step back and think, okay, I want to be my own best advocate. And if somebody has been treating the smoke instead of putting out the fire, then find somebody else. Demand better. Get results. Test your gut, okay? Your gut is as unique as your fingerprint. What heals my gut, it will probably make your gut worse. What makes your gut healed might make my gut worse. Like, we can't use the same protocol, even if we're the same gut health type. So you also can't fix what you can't see. So like just guessing, listening to this and say, oh, I think I'm a gut health type 4 from what Dr. Smith said. So I'm just going to go back, listen to this, hear what she said. Like, okay, but you didn't test. And so that would be the same as literally like walking into a doctor with a serious issue. Let's say all of a sudden you get debilitating abdominal pain and your eyes turn yellow. And you walk into an ER and you say, my eyes are yellow and I have debilitating pain. There is a differential for that. Most doctors are going to tell you it's 1, 2, or 3, right? And so that would be like you walking into an emergency room and saying, well, I know my life's at risk and I have these symptoms, but can you just treat me? Like, just go for it. I don't need any testing. Like, nobody would do that, right? You want to know for sure. You want answers. So I don't understand why we think we can fix our gut and we can fix all these chronic healthcare problems in America and all these inflammatory issues without proper testing. And you have to start with your gut. Okay, so these generic protocols fail because they're not designed for your specific gut health type, and we don't have the information for your specific gut. So all those symptoms we talked about in the first episode and in this episode today, those 27 symptoms, if you had a list of them, if you had more than 5 or 6 of them, most of you, like I said, are probably going to have 15, 20, 27, might have all 27. If you have these symptoms, your body is begging you. It's begging you to figure out what's going on with your gut, okay? And so treating your gut can be way easier than you think. I just gave you a lot of information. I do a gut health live accelerator webinar once a month where I go through this and I teach you things, and I can, we have a program where we can help you at Modern Endocrine with your gut. What I would recommend that you do if you are interested in this, not only follow me on social media, go to our website, check out our gut health. On our website, we have a whole gut health page where we talk about gut health. I'm going to link in the bottom of this podcast my 5-day gut health reset. So if you want to get on that, click on it. I'll get you my 5-day gut health reset. So make sure you sign up for that. I'm also going to link some patient testimonials so you can see, like, I'm not just making stuff up. There are people, hundreds of people that have went through my program and felt so much better. And then also I want to just tell you guys, I want you to be able to say goodbye to just generic gut health protocols that don't address your gut health type just by following people on social media and doing what they say, and supplement guessworking and trying to take things without actually knowing what you need, because that wastes your money and your time, and endless trials of error with food and diets. Like, I don't want you to do that either. That also is miserable for you and waste your time. And like, I don't want you to have test results with no clear interpretation or next steps. What I want you guys to understand and get is data-driven gut clarity, expert GI map insight, early detection of hitting disruptors in your body that are leading to chronic diseases and chronic illnesses, a plan that fits your lifestyle, a precision repair protocol that is tailored to you. And I want you to go from coping to actually healing. Like, that is why I do what I do. That is why I put together the Gut Health Accelerator. That is why we do gut health at Modern Endocrine. That's why I'm taking this time to put it on this podcast, okay? And so if you want to do that, make sure that you grab not only the link to my next Gut Health Live Accelerator, look on our website, but also go check out my 5-day gut health reset. Like, sign up for this. Let me send you some information. Information is knowledge. I mean, it's key. It's powerful. So at least take the 5-day gut reset. Like, do that for your gut and just see and check out our testimonials. Okay. So I want to also, before we close out today, I want to answer some more questions for you guys that people ask me on social media, and they ask me at the webinar and just like in general. So I want you to know, like, a lot of people say to me, hey, I want to know why this program or what you do at Modern Endocrine is different than any other program. I think that's a great question. I think that our program is different. I know our program is different because it's unique and it's tailored to you. Again, I'm very passionate about what I do. I've seen thousands of these gut studies. That's why I trademarked this. That's why I wrote a book about it. Like, this is the wave of the future. This is the future of medicine. If you don't fix someone's gut in 10 years, when you go to the doctor, if nobody talks to you about your gut, your stool, your food, you're going to go to a different doctor, because you're going to see in healthcare that you are not going to get better. You're going to get worse unless you attack your gut. So our program knows that. And it is very tailored to you. It is very, like, we make sure with our program, with this program, that you have everything that you need, the best test, the best information, the best plan, and we can hold you accountable. Like, we'll hold you accountable and we'll help you get there. We have so much educational information that we've made. I have an entire app. I mean, we have a lot of stuff. So our program is different because not only do we look at your individual gut health, like your test, we also have these types that we help you understand. We have programs that help educate you, and we've done it thousands of times. And so our program is it's very beneficial. In addition to that, I'm a board certified endocrinologist. So I actually understand how hormones truly affect everything in your body, which is what my book is about. How does your thyroid, how does your estrogen, how does your testosterone, how does your growth hormone, how does your cortisol, how does your insulin, how does your melatonin, how does your ghrelin, how does your leptin, how do all these things affect your gut? So we take all that into account at our program. So that's how our program is different than any other program. A lot of people ask, what do your healing protocols consist of? Like, what am I looking at? Well, it depends. We try to use diet and lifestyle. So we teach you diet and lifestyle modifications. It doesn't mean that you can't ever eat your favorite foods again. We use a lot of herbs. I don't like to use antibiotics. I don't like to use antifungals. I don't like to use anything like that because it can cause more damage to your gut. So we use traditional, like I say traditional, we use Chinese medicine type things like herbs, things that they used 2,000 years ago. So we use herbs, we use lifestyle modification, we use education, we use dietary changes, but we try not to use antibiotics and we try not to use antifungals, okay? And it also consists of accountability. We have a Facebook group that we put you in where we have hundreds of people that have been on this journey, our different parts of the journey. Our health coaches touch base with you. I touch base with you in the app. So I mean, so we provide you education, we provide you accountability too, which is really important. A lot of people ask, if I am interested in doing this and really looking at my gut and diving into my gut, what can I expect? Like at my first review, like if I do a test and I do a gut health test with you, what happens at my first review? Well, at your initial review, our coach will literally go through every single bacteria with you line by line and tell you, what is this bacteria? What does it mean? Is yours in a good range? Is it in a bad range? And if it's not where it needs to be, we tell you exactly why. We explain to you like the big picture, why, and then what we need to do in what order to fix everything. So how do we rebalance? How do we get your good bacteria to grow? How do we get your bad bacteria to die? How do we get your gut lining fixed? How do we get you to digest your nutrients? How do we get your secretory IG in your immune system? I mean, we go through all of it. And so that's what you can expect so that you have a clear understanding of exactly what's going on. And then if you choose to, participate with our Facebook group and our app, we continue to educate you for months. Like I teach you so much stuff about your gut. I get asked a lot about how long does it truly take to heal my gut? And this is a really hard question, y'all. So it depends on what's going on. I heal people's guts in 3 months. Sometimes it takes 6. I've got people it takes a year. If you are a gut health type 5 and you're really sick, sometimes it can take a year. But a lot of times it can take 3 months. Some people are not willing to go all in for 3 months. They're like, this is too much. I don't want to do it. So they want to do a longer plan, a 4-month plan, a 6-month plan. So we try to meet you where you are. But for the most part, remember that your gut rebuilds itself about every 30 days. And so if you're really willing to jump in and work on your gut and you're ready, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you can fix your gut in 3 months. Okay? But some people it takes longer. But we will be there with you every step of the way. Like we don't give up on you. We have people that have been in our program for 6 months, 9 months. Like we will be there if we need to be there. Okay? I also have people who say, I've done a ton of testing. Can I just reserve time with you to review my testing? If you've already done gut testing and it's specifically a GI map and it is less than 30-ish days old, we are willing to review that with you at Modern Endocrine. Our team can do that. We can do a different type of a program for you where we can review your test and help you with that. So that is something we can do. You can contact us for that information. And so we can do that. But I don't like to review tests that are super old because things change. And if you haven't done anything for several months, your gut is going to continue to change and a lot of times get worse. Okay? And then I have a lot of questions too about like, hey, if I do want to do a stool study, like how do I collect the stool study? What medications can I be on when I do the stool study? What do I need to stop? Can I take probiotics? Can I take, digestive enzymes? Do I need to stop those? And so all those questions are great questions too. And if you are interested in these and you want to do a gut protocol with Modern Endocrine, watch my live webinar or get our Gut Health Accelerator information. And if you do that, I do a whole lecture with you about exactly how to collect a stool study and how to make it like a perfect collection. So I do a whole PowerPoint slideshow presentation. I answer all those questions there. So don't be anxious about that. Like, I don't want you to be thinking about, well, how do I do this and how do I do this? I want you to take from this podcast, like, I want to take back my health. I want you to feel like empowered and feel like this is not your fault, all the symptoms that you have. I want you to realize that there is a lot of you people who have all these symptoms, there is a common denominator here. And if we go to the root cause, to our gut, to fix this, then we can actually get better. That's what I want you to focus on. Are you ready to take that journey? Are you ready to really take back your health and feel better? And if you are, then Modern Endocrine is here to help you. Our Gut Health Accelerator, phenomenal. So that's what I want you to worry about. And then we've taken care of everything else. You just have to make the decision that you want to do it. And then we have done this hundreds of thousands of times now. So we will take care of you. So you just think about all the information you got today from this podcast, the information you got last week, and you think about those symptoms. So go back to those symptoms, the 27 symptoms I asked you about, and you think, do I want to live with these for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, and if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're sick of being told it's in your head, you're sick of hurting, you're sick of having the weight gain, the abdominal pain, like you're just fed up, then I'm telling you, like, what is it? I mean, why would you not go to your gut and try this? Like, you've tried everything else. Modern medicine has failed you. Let's look at your gut. Modern Endocrine would love to help you with this. This is what we do. This is what we're passionate about. This is why we wake up in the morning. So if you think you're ready, first of all, go to the show notes. There's going to be a link for the 5-day gut health reset. Everyone listening to this should tap that. If you are listening to this, you should tap the 5-day gut health reset. It's free. It is free and it will help your health. And if you listen to this whole episode, then obviously you need your gut helped. So please tap it. And then the other thing is I will put a link to patient testimonials. So I'm not just making this up. We have tons of patient testimonials. I'll put it in the show notes. I want you guys also to please, in the show notes, I will put a link to our Gut Health Accelerator, the live. So if you want to get on a list and watch the live and know more about the testing, I'll put that there. If you know someone this could benefit though, this is why I live. I want to educate people. If you know someone this could benefit, I just beg you to send this to them, because we have just failed people in modern medicine. We failed them and we've made people feel like it is their fault. And so please send this, share it with everyone that you know that it could benefit. Say, hey, I know that you're struggling with this, or I'm struggling with this, or you said you're struggling with this. Like, just listen to this. This is a different perspective. I need you guys to help me make this more mainstream and demand this as patients. So send this to anyone that you think would be helpful. Get on our 5-day gut health reset, free information. Follow me on all my social channels, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Comment. Let me know in your comments, you guys. I read all the comments. Let me know what you want to know about. Ask me questions. I do a daily walk. I will answer your questions. What gut health questions do you have? What do you want to know about? Get on my social media and let me know. Okay? Let me know. And then please leave me a review. If you liked this type of podcast, leave me a review, because this is how I know, hey, keep doing solo podcast reviews. They actually like this, or don't do that. So leave me a review if you liked this. Also, Modern Endocrine is licensed in 44 states now, so we can actually do medicine virtually with you if you want to do something besides gut health. We can do gut health in all 50 states, but we can actually do medical care in 44 states. All that information can be found on our website. I am so appreciative and I feel so grateful that you spent this last 45 minutes with me today learning about your health. Please help me make this mainstream. Gut health has got to be mainstream so that we get better. We need to demand better. And I'll see you guys next week. The information presented, including any materials discussed, referenced, or linked within this podcast, are for general educational purposes only, not the practice of medicine. No doctor-patient relationship is formed from you listening to this podcast or utilizing any of the information provided. I am a doctor, but I am not talking to you as your doctor. The information provided is not intended to diagnose or treat health problems, or take the place of the professional medical care provided by your doctor. If you are experiencing any health problems, including problems you believe have been touched upon in any respect within this podcast, you should consult your doctor about the problems without delay. You may ask your doctor whether he or she believes the information I have provided would be helpful to you, but you should still consult your doctor immediately and follow his or her medical advice as your treating physician. I'm just here to provide you basic knowledge about the issues we discuss so you are more aware of them and can better discuss them with your doctor. That's why we call it Back to the Basics. Join me on the next episode as we continue our journey.